Are we starting the interview yet? Did we start?
Yeah, we started when I started talking,
Okay,
man.
good. So are y'all familiar with my documentary series?
Oh my gosh. I'm waiting for part 3. I
Okay, so
was
you are
I was
familiar.
mad. I was mad. I'm like, where's I was
Well, I
like, come
need to
on,
see
man.
part
Oh,
1.
no,
Okay,
it was
good. So you
dope.
gotta see part
Oh, I
1.
was gonna let her know. She needed to
Okay.
look at that.
Yeah.
you
Okay.
you
I can't
that,
say the words, but it's the NIGGA factory.
yeah, I call it
Yeah.
the N factor.
The N factory, yeah. And it's
I mean
on
factory,
YouTube
rather.
for free.
Yeah.
And I did this for the people, and I wanted to express my deep feelings about how we're being programmed. I love that word for this topic. So yeah, this is it's a brilliant documentary, if I must say so myself.
And I'm gonna say so myself.
Thank you,
As
bro.
Smokey Robinson would say, I second that emotion.
I second that emotion. I love it. We still
What?
believe in making music and continuing to grow in the craft. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people who are from that era have either quit or they
They
just
mad.
they're mad and
Yeah.
bitter because of the
Bitter.
reality of the industry. You know what I mean? Now I'm not gonna lie, I got some things that I'm mad about too, but I'm pushing on because the creativity keeps me doing that. You know what I mean? So it's a
But
lot
that's
more to do.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with being mad,
No doubt about
but
it.
you have to take that negative energy and make it into like a superhero and make you
That's
stronger.
exactly right.
You
Make you
know?
stronger, make you
Yeah.
forward in a
So
harder way.
exactly. I'm mad, but shoot, I'm finna do this.
Exactly right.
Right.
So you become stronger,
Yep.
Right.
you know, or
It's
you
funny
can
you say that because, like, the first song on this album for the FKN Love that we're about to drop this Friday,
Uh-oh.
it's called Yes Always, right? And it's talking about what we're saying. So it's like the chorus is when the hard stuff comes, will I rise up? Can I handle it? Yes is always the answer. And it's basically saying, I'm taking my anger, I'm moving forward. We gonna do something incredible with this anger. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
that's the point of that track. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think
That's
y'all gonna dig this album. I really
oh
do. I think y'all gonna dig this album. It's fresh, man.
yeah, I love A Different World. Both
Thank you. Yeah.
versions. Both
Yeah.
versions are like,
Yeah. Thank you.
oh, they're so
Thank you.
dope.
And that song was released 6 days after that January 6th
Yeah,
insurrection.
I'm like, was he
Right off
there?
the bat.
I'm thinking,
That's
was
the
he
beauty
there?
of
Wow.
technology, because we could have never released that record 6 days later back in the day. Because of technology, I was able to drop that Joker less than a week after that insurrection.
That was crazy.
Wow.
Tennessee wasn't supposed to have been on that album.
No, it wasn't.
And
That song wasn't even created when we was
yeah,
about to hand in the album. It
that
wasn't
was
even
a
created yet.
it was a life incident made that happen.
Yeah.
You know,
It was
Wow.
yeah.
one of the it was the saddest day of my life. So my grandmother, who I spent all my summers with in Tennessee, she passed away. And so we all went down to her funeral to celebrate her life. My brother was there, my father, mother, everybody. And then that same week, my brother died, and he died of an asthma attack. And I'll never forget how I felt. And I wanted to memorialize them in music. So the first thing I did was that artist that you got down there, DJ Jock. I got Prince. I got that sample from Tennessee. I got the word Tennessee from Alphabet Street,
Alphabet Street. Okay.
and I started looping that on my sampler, and then the song started to form from there. And thank God for that song. I feel like when our ancestors pass, right,
Mm-hmm.
or when our loved ones pass and become ancestors, the energy is still there. So their bodies aren't here, but their energies are there, and they pass on to us certain gifts. I believe that wholeheartedly. I've seen it happen too many times now. And so they pass on the gift, in my case, of music. I got that inspiration to write that song, and that song was the first Arrested Development single to ever come out. I'm so grateful for that joint.
It was
So
timing.
grateful. Yeah.
And that was the at that time the only record with a rapper talking to God.
A rapper talking, man, you just hit me on something. Not
Wow.
only that, I think and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that at that time it was the only rap record that was melodic at the time too. So this is pre-Drake, obviously, pre-Bones. And so I
Mm-hmm.
feel like there was no record that was melodic the whole record. You know, there might be little melodic pieces like in Lottie Dottie or, you
Mm-hmm.
know, Crush,
Mm-hmm.
Crash Crew or anybody, but we was like how I was flowing with it was melodic the entire time. You know, this is pre Nelly too. You know, friends, St.
Way
Louis,
pre.
way
Wait,
pre.
yeah.
Now y'all, I'm sure y'all heard the Vibe single with Big Daddy Kane. Have y'all heard that joint yet?
Yeah. Um, I
I
got
have.
it because uh he sent it to me.
Word up.
But I heard it before that.
Come on.
Because I heard it on it was a YouTube thing somebody put
Yeah.
up, and
Yeah.
I heard it. And then that's when I was like, okay, I gotta get that. Speech got a new song out.
Yeah.
And that's when I hit JJ. Like
Yeah. That's
any
when
way
you.
you could get there.
That's nice.
But
Oh
no,
Yeah.
yeah,
how
that's
do you get Kane?
yeah.
How the heck you get Kane? I know it
No.
wasn't hard, but
No, but it was hard because Kane is, he's a legend, man,
man, you're a legend too.
I am. But honestly, it's tough to reach people
It's the
because
people in
Kane.
between.
Exactly, because Kane
Yeah.
was doing, like, we're friends. I've known Kane for years, like decades. And we've done shows together, me, him, KRS-One. We did shows together. So I knew him from back then. But still, even if I reach out to a brother or any one of these artists that are legends in the music industry, they're busy. So it's like sometimes they're busy doing other things. Like Kane at the time was doing interviews with Eminem, Jay-Z. He was doing all of this, he's starting this podcast. So all of these things he was doing, not to mention touring. So it was tough to get a hold of him. And I was so grateful when he finally hit me back. He probably hit me back about a month after I reached out to him and said, "Yo, sorry, bro." And he said, "Man, this song is hot. I love to get on it." And then, we started vibing from there. And that's where the song Vibe came out. Yeah.
You have a scholarship fund for your brother.
Yeah. I do. I do. And it's funny,
Man.
my mom, my mother and I did it really close to after his passing. We went ahead and started. This is when Arrested Development had done pretty well. I put up 20,000 and to start a scholarship fund. And our whole goal, because Milwaukee is statistically the worst place for Black men to grow up. So I grew up there and I know the conditions there. So I wanted to, my mom and I wanted to, in my brother's name, help college students to get through school, those that didn't have enough money to pay for their books or pay for classes or whatever. So we started off with 20 grand. We ended up raising $1 million over the years. And I'm so grateful for that. And we've helped thousands of students now. And I'm just very, very grateful. But that's all in my brother's name. Another one of those gifts from the ancestors.
I want to say that I gotta say congratulations for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame,
Yeah,
naming
man.
Tennessee one of the 500 songs that shaped rock and roll.
That's like such an honor to me. Like I'm not one that loves awards in that way, but I know when an honor is an honor, and I know how many people would love to be in that exact spot, right? And the fact that something I wrote in one of the most low points of my life can be an inspiration to millions upon millions of people and be put into the Hall of Fame's top 500, like that to me is just mind blowing and it's beautiful and I love it. So I'm very, very grateful for that honor. Yeah, I really am. Yeah, I almost look at Tennessee like a blues song, like it's got a
Folk.
hip hop, it's a hip
Yeah.
hop track, but it's
Yeah.
got a blues spirit to it. Not really don't sound like blues, but it's got a blues spirit to it, like the type of lyrics, you know what I mean? Lord, I've really been real stressed, down and out,
Spiritual.
losing ground. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of vibe. Yeah. Shout out to the
Man.
Whispers, by the way.
Oh
Shout out to
man,
the
for
Whispers.
real.
Let me tell
Yep.
you, I did a song on my solo album Expansion called Seen for the First Time. And I played it for the Whispers because I wanted them to be on that joint. and they loved the track. And we started working on the track with them on it. In fact, they sent me a demo of them being on it, and then schedules didn't mesh up, and I needed to release the album, and they didn't end up actually being on there. But shout out to them, man, because they're legends. Legends.
Oh man,
Oh.
redo it.
Redo it, exactly.
it.
We should do
Yeah.
that.
Do it.
Yeah, we
Do
got
it.
to do that when time permits. You know, COVID messed up a lot
A
of.
lot.
Yeah.
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 But do it.
You're right. No, you're right. You're right. It's got to be done. It's got to be done. Yeah.
So after the group first round went their separate ways,
Yeah.
10 years after that, you met Dion at the Fox.
Yeah, I did.
And you were sitting real close to her at whose concert?
So I tell you, the most amazing thing that happened with this is Dion and I loved each other, but after some time being in the group, she wasn't a member. She was always an what we called extended family member.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was a guest basically, right? And we started to get into it because of some stuff that it's too long. I won't go into it now, but we got into it. She quit singing with Arrested Development at the Fox Theater in Atlanta, right? Which is a renowned theater right here in the heart of downtown Atlanta on Peachtree Street. She quit. It was violent. There was chairs thrown. It was crazy. We didn't talk for 10 years. I saw her 10 years later, which is what you're referring to, my brother. 10 years later, where at? And it was totally coincidental at the Fox. And the odds of us being at the Fox, I'm watching my favorite artist, where we both were, Prince, rocking. And my seat is literally right behind her seat, which was totally like crazy how that came together. So yeah, we had a reckoning in that moment. I reached out to her. I sent her a little note because the music was rocking. I sent her a note and she sent me back a note, and we talked that way, and it was love. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's funny you bring that up, man.
Oh.
So you mentioned one documentary, but tell us about these 16 bars.
Come on. Yeah.
Now I'm thinking of music notes, but this is something else.
Pretty much, but on another level.
Okay.
So you know, I was watching CNN one night, and they had a documentary about a father-daughter dance that was going on in a prison, a jail, actually. And I was like, man, whoever allowed these men the dignity to have their daughters visit them in the jail while they're serving, and the dignity of having a dance, ribbons, balloons, the whole nine. I said, whoever that sheriff was that allowed that, that sheriff has a different vision for these people. And my manager saw it the same night. We talked to each other, and we decided to call that jail up. And we talked to the sheriff and his assistant, and they were fired up at the idea, which we presented, of me going into that jail and doing music with what they would call the inmates. And it was something we would document, and I released it as a film called 16 Bars. It's a full-length documentary, and we did the film festival circuit. We won over 20 awards for that film, and now it's on streaming services. It's on your local streaming services, and it's on YouTube too. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Very proud of that. Very proud of that. We followed 4 men into while they were in this jail, and we recorded with these men. And like, let me see, 3 of them was hip hop. 1 of them was a country artist, and he was a beast. He was great. You got to see this documentary. It's special. It's special. It's called 16.
Oh, I'm writing them down.
U.S. fans versus overseas fans.
We have toured almost every country in the world. We've done it numerous times. And it's not even close. And this is sad to say, but America sucks compared to the overseas audience when it comes to live shows. Now, I'll say this for America. When you do get that live show in America, every once in a while, you get a crowd that's really there to rock and have a good time. They're there to give you energy and get energy. It feels incredible because it don't happen a lot. But I will say this, overseas, my gosh, bro. It's a whole nother type of energy and appreciation. And I'm talking about not just in Europe, but overseas in Japan, Australia, Canada, of course, all throughout Europe, Africa, you know what I'm saying? The Caribbean is just better. It's just the crowds are more grateful. They're more in tune and more locked into the show. They're not watching on their phones. They're live and direct.
Yeah. America treats its artists or art like fast food.
I agree with that.
Ew.
I agree with that.
That's not fair.
There's a few exceptions, but man, let me tell you, the overseas audiences are just excited and they're tuned in. I could go to like Arrested Development and me, because I do solo stuff. So Arrested Development or I could go to Japan and they don't even speak English. Right. And they will know all the lyrics to a song. They'll have translated it to their language, learn what it's all about, the meaning of the song, who played bass, who scratched, who made the beats. They know all of that stuff and they'll talk to you about it after the show. And as an artist, that's why you do the art. You want people to dig in and understand it. And that's what you get, generally speaking, when you go overseas.
I guarantee you, if you go to the YouTube link and see the Whispers interview that we just did a couple weeks ago, almost word for word, what you just said, it's the same thing Walton Scotty said about Japanese to Asian people.
Yeah.
They'll sit there quiet until the song is over and they all stand up and applaud.
I've seen, especially Black Americans, I see a lot of us will leave and go to some of these countries and we won't come back because Tina Turner, so many others, because they realize, wait a minute, I ain't feeling the same type of oppression. I'm not feeling the same type of hatred. I'm not feeling the same type of political craziness. I'm feeling the prices are way lower. I'm around more of my people in some of these countries. It's like, it's a different energy, man. And it's good. I'm glad that the world isn't as small as some people say it is. Sometimes the world is bigger and that's a good thing because you need to see some difference, you need to see some different stimuli,
The new album for the FKN, you got, and T, I don't know if you knew this, but that album is released in a couple of days. So, but you got Moni Love.
My girl.
You got my dude, Master Ace.
Master Ace. Yeah.
But you got the Sugar Hill Gang. Now, is this the real original Sugar Hill Gang?
With
Wonder Mike and
Master G.
Master G? Or is this some other dudes?
No, it's Wonder Mike, Master G.
That's what's up.
They do have a couple new members that I never met, but they're on the record too. But let me tell you, Wonder Mike, Master G is in effect, the originals, and they got some cool dudes, man, cool dudes that are newer that I just met. But let me tell you, among them, I mean, we got Freddie Fox on this record.
Yeah.
It's like, so many people, man. Like my man D1 is on this record. It's crazy. Fat Man Scoop's on the record,
Scoop
I like him.
Yeah,
I like him.
King,
where you scoop him up from?
I know, exactly.
I ain't heard his name in a while.
Let's go now. Okay. Let's go now. Let's go.
Exactly right. Yeah, he's on.
Then bring it back now.
Yep. Yeah, it's a great record. I'm really proud of this album. I'm so proud.
Oh, can't wait to hear it.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
always looked at Ace like I don't. Ace wasn't one of them people that got his just due.
I agree with that.
You
I
know,
agree.
it's like he was so lyrical, man. It was God.
And there's no exception. Like on for the FKN Love album, his verse is so, it almost reminds me of the Tennessee song from us because it's so spiritual, it's so every single word that he utters out of his mouth on this song is purposeful. Every word. He didn't waste not one word. And that's what I loved about his verse. So I can't wait for y'all to peep it and let me know what y'all think. But it's crazy. I'm
He
really
can't
proud of
wait
it.
either.
Yeah.
You got my girl. I mean, I'm already hyped. I ain't even got the
Yep.
song done.
Moni Love. Moni Love. She came on this song called Thank You, and she just wrecked it. Like her verse is so smooth, and it encapsulates all the things that people love about Moni. Her flow, her confidence and swag is, and just her female power vibe. It's like it's all in there. And she's humble, but she's confident. It's got all of this great mix in it. It's crazy. And then I got a lot of new artists that I reached out to for the Arrested Development album that's dropping, and they're great. Keandra's on, she's a beast vocalist. My man Four Eyes is a beast rhymer. Um, my man Mark X and Jaha. So many, you know what I'm saying? Like Lish, Twan Mac, and so many great artists that are up and comers that are just they're smacking. It's just great. It's just crazy talent.
And speech, I'm just gonna jump in on that. Those artists you name, but
Yeah,
if they got music, because we program our own shows,
that's
we will
right.
be the first of ones to play it here in St. Louis.
Del P is from Philly. I'm gonna hook these dudes onto this. Like Del P is a rising star in Philadelphia. This dude is so lyrical. He reminds me of like in the discipleship of Black Thought. You know what I mean? And he's that good. So
Oh,
it's some
Mm,
great artists, and I'll be hipping them to y'all show definitely.
okay.
yes,
And your
sir.
everyday podcast.
Yeah.
Huh? Everyday
Every,
People
every,
podcast.
oh, that's the song.
You know,
Everyday
how
people.
well, how did you come up that with that one? You know,
Honestly, everybody was doing these podcasts, and I was watching them. I was listening to them. My wife was as well, and I was like, our family talks like the way we're going to do our podcast. Our family talks like that all the time. Like we are around a dinner table or at a restaurant. We're talking like this all the time. So I was like, we need to film what we're doing, and that's what I did. So it was me, my queen, our daughter, and even sometimes our son, and a couple friends would join us here and there. My sister-in-law would join us, and it was great. Like we don't do them anymore, but we probably did about 10 episodes, and it was fun, man. We really had a great time.
if you ever go to the post office and you
Yeah.
see some you see some dude in the line that interests you, holler at him because you might end up being married for 20 or more years.
Yeah, that's right. That's how me and my queen met. Yeah.
Really? At the post at the post office?
At the post office. I met her
Wow.
and at a post office here in Atlanta called Briarcliff. And I was in the front of the line. She was in the back of the line. And I was turning around. I was checking her out because she was gorgeous and fine. And I was like, yo, I want to talk to this sister. But I had to finish my business. I left and I waited. I waited in my Jeep. And when she came out, I pulled up slowly. I didn't want to scare her or startle her or anything like that.
Right.
And I was just like, hey, sister, I just want to, don't want to disturb your vibe today, but I just wanted to tell you this, that, and the third. I kicked a little something to her. And it was great. You know what I'm saying? Like 26 years later, that's how long we've been married. We've been together for 30,
Wow.
31 years now.
Wow,
Wow.
that's what's up, man.
Well,
Yeah.
I just went
See,
to the post office on Saturday, but it was nothing in there that interests
so
me. So
so
maybe I need to go back maybe another day.
So what you
Keep
do,
going
T?
back. Keep going back.
No, that what I saw, it was no interest.
Right, right.
So you did like the shy lights. You wrote a letter to yourself.
I wrote a
You-
letter to myself. That's funny.
It's something that I heard you. I think I heard you say something sort of like, when it comes to homeless people, people overlook their stories, and everybody has a story.
You know, it's funny. There's a dude, I won't say his name right now, but there's a dude that I met who was homeless and he needed a place to stay. So me and my queen, we had him stay at our art school. And he was the one in charge of sort of cleaning up the place. And we would pay him. And we also let him stay there. So he had a place now and he was cleaning up the place. Then one day I hear him playing guitar and the guy was brilliant. And I'm not talking about he was all right, he was brilliant. And so I said, yo, you play guitar like a genius. He said, thank you. And he was down and out. And, you know, I started using him to play guitar in my songs.
Wow.
Then we started writing songs together. Over time, he got on his feet. And this brother started sharing with me that he was in an R&B band that was pretty successful back in the 60s and 70s. But also he now plays with the Ohio Players to this very day.
Wow.
He's totally sober. He's been clean for over a decade. And the dude is a beast on guitar. But you never know who you're talking to when you walk past these brothers and sisters on the streets. You never know their story, like you just said. So yeah, he plays with the Ohio Players right now.
What?
And he toured the world with me before them. So he toured the world. I took him to Japan, to Africa, everywhere in the world, Europe, all throughout. And he is just one of the most prolific guitar players.
I just got some simple stuff to ask you, man. So
Cool.
I just want to know where you born and raised, where all this come from. But I think I heard you mention it. Because actually, when you said what you said, but I want you to go ahead and tell me the story. A
Yeah.
co-worker of mine actually was from the same city
Word
that
up.
you can already say. And she kind of said the same thing, what you said.
Word
And
up.
she said was nothing there. I'm not gonna mention her name either.
Yeah.
But her and her sister left
Yeah.
and they came here to the city.
Word
'Cause
up.
it
They came to
was
St. Louis.
they came to East St. Louis. Well, she stay in St. Louis now
Okay.
and her sister. So yeah, they had it. It was really, really rough.
Yeah.
And she
Well,
told me the story, I almost cried.
I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin,
Okay.
and I was born and raised there. I spent all my summers in Tennessee with my grandma, and my mother is from East St. Louis. And so I have relatives to this day in East St. Louis, Collinsville, all throughout this area of East St. Louis, St. Louis. So I have people on that side of the world, and I grew up going to East St. Louis too once a year and visiting family. So yeah, I walked the streets of East St. Louis, you know, many a times. So yeah, that's where I'm from.
Wow.
Yeah, Milwaukee, St. Louis, East St. Louis, Tennessee. These are my stomping grounds as a young boy.
So there's family still here, correct?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
my mother's
Like,
side. Yeah.
okay. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I got some family members in Collinsville as well. But if I probably mention this, they're gonna probably try to, ooh, let's see if we can find them. No, no, because you can't get the speech. How about that? Man, how do you get into rapping? What inspired you to start rapping?
Well, the beautiful story of how I got into this was Sugar Hill Gang, and they're on our new album for the FKN Love. So I'm fired up because when I first heard Rapper's Delight, it literally blew my mind. It made me feel like the world was just melting in front of me. Like to see these dudes rhyming and talking in rhythm, I had never heard that before. And to see it for like 11, 12 minutes, however long that first versions were back then, it was just mind blowing. And so I knew that this was something that I had never heard. It was totally fresh and new, and I wanted to be a part of this culture, this this
Mhm.
this way of being able to do thousands upon thousands of words in a song. Whereas singing, because of melody, you can't do thousands of words in any song with a singing song, because you got
Right.
the melody's gonna take one word for a long period of time for the record. And so
Right.
when you just talking and rapping, you got a chance to tell story after story. Because if you think about Rapper's Delight, they told a number of stories in that one record. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? We know about the friend's house to eat. We know about Hotel Motel. We know about the Cadillac. We know about all of this different realities in one record, not just one story. And that's what I love about hip hop. You know what I'm saying? You can
Right.
weave in so much in so little a time. So
And
yeah.
and I think that's kind of like where my dad started the roll call show on the radio, where he would have people calling in. He would ask you your name, your sign, your school, your favorite teacher with the golden rule, and these people would say they little raps and just go, because by they were the first station to play this rap song. He took this whole roll call to another level. It went
Wow.
huge. So my
That's
daddy
that's
was
crazy.
actually into that rapping back in that day. I mean, he's passed away in 2007, but that
Yeah.
early rap, the Curtis Blows, them Sugar Hills, the sequence, that was him.
No
Dr.
doubt
Jekyll
about
and Mr. Hyde, he
it. Yeah.
used that instrumental and did roll call.
That's
And
amazing.
man, so you had your first rap group called Attack, your first
Yeah.
rap group, man. So can you elaborate that? Talk about this rap group you first
Yeah.
started.
So I had a crew called Attack, and it was me, a brother named Special K, who's now DJ Kimmett, and a brother named TheOriginalG.Wiz, who was murdered, unfortunately. And rest in peace to TheOriginalG.Wiz. And we did some fresh hip hop. And it was the first hip hop record released in Milwaukee. And it was well received. Like a lot of high school students was all over this record. And we had songs like Tip the Bottle Up and one song called That's Right and another song called Attack on the Wax. And so we had all of these joints and people loved them. And I was producer of these tracks and rapping and DJing. My man DJ Kimmett, he was Special K back in those days. He was scratching and doing a little bit of rapping too. And then my man TheOriginalG.Wiz was strictly rapping and he was a beast. So good at it, man. And he's so
Wow.
missed. There's a TheOriginalG.Wiz day in Milwaukee. That's how
Mm.
popular and loved he was. And he died way before his time. He was murdered, I think, in 90, I want to say 91, maybe 1990. He was murdered and he was a young man, probably 19, 20 years old, if I'm not
Ooh.
mistaken. Yeah,
Oh wow. He was just a baby. Mm.
just a baby. Yeah.
Wow. So do you still have some of those early tracks?
I, I don't have any. And what I love about it is
Hey,
YouTube. Ironically, YouTube has it. Like people that did have the
really?
records, yeah, people that bought the record back then, they don't put it up on YouTube. So every once in a while, I could go to YouTube and check out this stuff that we did back in that late
You're like,
80s.
hey,
Yeah,
that's me.
early 80s. Yeah.
You did some DJing, and not only the first rap group you created, but then you did DJing as well. I guess
Yeah.
that would come along with it because of the rap
No,
factor,
I was
right?
a DJ because my dad owned a nightclub and I was always admiring the DJs. Like they had the
Like, like,
power. And I was like, man, I want to do that. And so one of the DJs taught me how to see. Back in those days, they didn't mix the records and scratch it yet. They was just
right.
letting the record fade and then they fade in slowly another
Mm-hmm.
record. And
Mm-hmm.
they taught me that. But then when I started hearing Grandmaster Flash and Grand Mixer DST and some of these brothers on these records, UTFO, you know what I'm saying? Like Mixmaster Ice. And then I started scratching and mixing and, going in with the hip hop type of DJ, you know what I mean? And it was a passion. Yeah, it still is a
Wow.
passion. Yeah.
I never really got into the scratching. I
Uh-huh.
was always into the mixing. So I was
Yeah.
always like Wiz. Then when we were going to the skate ring back in the day, we could never get to the DJs. They're
Right.
so
Yeah.
far away, you this way. So you know, you listen to how they blend. Cause my daddy never was a mixer. He just knew where the top bangers was, and he just
Right.
flipped them, just
Back to
flipped them
back.
and back to back. So I just observed all that in because I've been around him in the station
Yeah.
since a kid. So
Yeah.
I'm like, this is what I want to be. But of course,
Exactly.
it didn't end up that way till later.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's fascinating because I love the music. I loved
Yeah, me
all kind
too.
of the music.
Me
So
too.
it
That's the
was
same here, baby. Same here.
so now we finna get into how did we all get Arrested Development? How did we all get developed?
Yeah. Well, that crew, I want as soon as I came down to Atlanta in 1987, I put a flyer up at the school I was going to, which was the Art Institute, and I said, "Yo, I'm looking for a DJ," because I was a DJ, but I was now starting to rap, and I was like, "I
Mhm.
need a DJ." And this brother named Tim was looking at the flyer intently, and I was like, "Yo, you DJ?" And he said he does. I later named him Headliner because Headliner is a beast on cutting hair. Like he can line people's heads like nobody's business. So he was so good at cutting hair and cutting records. So I asked him to be part of this crew that I wanted to start in Atlanta, and he was the first member. Then we went on from there and started getting more and more members together. Baba OJ, the oldest man in hip hop, he was just a cool older man. He didn't even like hip hop, but he wanted to support this group because he knew we was all about Black power, Black
Mhm.
empowerment, and he wanted to be down with that cause. And so he joined the group, and it just kept going from there.
With speech, I got enough info from you and Wiz talking. I ain't gonna hold up much of your time, but I just appreciate this. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's great to talk to y'all, man. It's like talking to family.
We all.
Hey, it's family, man. It's East St. Louis.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Shout out to East
Oh,
St.
no.
Louis. Much
Damn.
love.
What's up?
No,
Y'all stay
man.
strong, y'all.
Thank you, sir. We
Thank you,
appreciate it.
sir.
All right.
Stay
Peace.
Cool.
strong.
All right. Peace.
Peace.